Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Monday, June 23rd. We're happy to have you in for another episode of the Prime Time program. It's lovely to see you. Lovely to have you here with us. And it would be lovely if your team could take a meaningful step in the right direction to fix one position group that has plagued them, I would argue, more than any other. When we talk about the situation that the Titans are in and what they're trying to get themselves out of, there's not one definitive reason why the Titans were 3-14 last year. There was a multitude of factors, right? It's the roster, it's Will Levis, it's the coaching staff having a difficult time in their first time out, all three first-time play callers in their unique situation. It was a multitude of things that went wrong for the Titans last year. But one of our friends and a frequent visitor on the 615 Sessions podcast that is currently on hiatus until we get back into the swing of things for training camp, but Nick Suss of the Tennessean found one of the least discussed, but clearly and obviously problem areas for the Tennessee Titans that they just haven't been able to get right. And it's not the two that you normally think of. So we're going to talk about how the Titans can end an excruciating trend at their most interesting position battle here in the next couple of weeks into months. We'll let you hear from one of those players at the position. We will take your feedback. We've got In Case You Missed It at the end of the show. Bert is very passionate about an Emmanuel Acho tweet that was apparently gaining some traction on the internet earlier today. We have a lot of things to do, and I'm looking forward to getting into them. Before we can get into those, though, I need you to share the broadcast around. I'll do it with you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, wherever you are spending your valuable time with us, which we do appreciate. We do need you to share this show around. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet it. If you're on Facebook Live, like I am right now, you can share. Share now to public. That's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you're on YouTube or Twitch, like the video, subscribe to the channel, tell a friend to do the same. It's always a good thing when we can see new faces, new names, I guess, in the comment section. We always love when you guys show up, but we love you even more when you share the broadcast around. So once you've done that, more of you guys will pile on in here, and we will go ahead and get this thing rolling. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Palatial Rising Estate on this Monday, June the 23rd. I'm your host, Buck Rising. Lovely to have you in for another episode of the show. And I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the wonderful folks at Two Rivers Ford. We'll get to True Mav later. Two Rivers Ford is always there for you. They've been there for over 4 decades, making the car buying process fast, easy, and more fun. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. Now True Mav Fitness, because that's clearly what's on my brain. It's probably because I had a heavier lunch than I should have, which means that I'm going to have to hit True Mav extra hard this week, but that's okay. Your fitness goals can be accomplished, can be achieved with the best coaching staff in a top-notch facility conveniently located in downtown Nashville in the Gulch. Go to truemavfitness.com for your first workout free. All right, so there's a couple of different positions that come to mind when you think about how bad the Titans have been in a couple of different areas. And if I asked you, this isn't your Two Rivers Ford take, but if I asked you, what positions do you typically associate with the problem areas, I'm going to say that the vast majority of you are going to start with the offensive line, because that's been, I would argue, one of the most undermining factors in the last 5 to 6 years of Titans football, basically since 2020. Since Lawan blew out his knee in 2020, and they looked like one of the better units in the sport. Ended up still having a very high-level offense that year, but they ended up using, of course, David Questenberry. I think that Dennis Kelly was still on that team in 2020. Either way, the Titans' offensive line has been an issue, but that's not been their biggest issue if you looked at how many different times they have tried to address it. Yes, they've been chasing it for years. Yes, they theoretically haven't gotten it right yet, though they are optimistic about this year's group. They do believe that they have at least a professional offensive line unit, which is more than you can say about basically every other unit since 2020. Wide receiver also comes to mind when you think about issues on the Titans roster, areas of concern. on the Titans roster. Not just because of the A.J. Brown debacle, but that's been something that Titans fans and Titans personnel people have been chasing for years upon years upon years. This is, for Titans fans, made worse by the A.J. Brown trade, but it's still not the position that they've struggled to correct the most, which is crazy to think about. So if it's not wide receiver and it's not offensive line, what's the biggest issue? What's the position that they've just been churning and burning players at basically every week for the past 3 years? Almost 3 years have they been trying to fix this one spot, and they have rotated 26 different players at this position. The question for you guys as we started off tonight in your or on your Two Rivers Ford take, of course, made possible by the South's most trusted Ford dealer, is this. And if Bert would do me the courtesy of sending that email, I will be able to follow along with you guys. This is for Titans fans. What is the biggest area of concern or the biggest issue that the Titans have had to correct on the roster? Wide receiver, you can say that. Offensive line, you can say that too. But there's a couple of different areas that I think also come to mind. Pass rush has been something that they've been chasing for a period of time now. What's been the toughest position for the Titans to fix on the roster? Let me know on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. It's your Two Rivers Ford take. It's made possible by those wonderful people at the South's most trusted Ford dealer. That's Two Rivers Ford. Quality American-made Ford vehicles and employee pricing for everyone is what they offer. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com for more details. They are there to serve you. Let's see. I've got offensive line and OC, says Richie Swell. We're not doing coaching staff tonight, but, honestly, I know it's felt like a long time, but they had two offensive coordinators become NFL head coaches. Now, you can say that was ultimately the downfall of Mike Vrabel, and I would say in large part, you're correct that he went down with the ship, which was Todd Downing, or, held on to the ship for too long instead of jumping for a life raft. And, he's doubled down on it. He's doubled down on a couple of different things. But in New England, guess who's the wide receivers coach? Todd Downing. So it's not like I don't know. Todd's not calling plays, so maybe it's not quite a lesson learned type situation. But I don't think Mike is bad at identifying coaching talent. I think that they just, they ran out of guys who were NFL head coaching caliber to replace Matt LaFleur and then to replace Arthur Smith. And it's not as easy as one would think to find those type of coaches. That's not an excuse, but I think it's a fair explanation. But it did contribute to his downfall, right? We all know that Todd Downing was a big issue. Wide receiver by far, says Boss Man Jim. Like I said, it's a completely natural reaction to select wide receiver, but by percentage that they have not churned wide receiver nearly as much as they have churned the one position that I'm getting ready to mention to you. Jay Benitez says cornerback. What was the last Pro Bowl corner we had? Malcolm Butler and Logan Ryan had to have had one Pro Bowl. I don't know. I think that they both made a Pro Bowl, or that at least one of them made a Pro Bowl during their time here. I mean, they were a good secondary, and they had, Logan Ryan and Malcolm Butler, just because they were on Patriots Super Bowl winning teams. And Malcolm Butler, obviously a very famous player for a couple of different reasons, beyond just being a good football player. I have to think that one of them made the Pro Bowl while they were here. But again, that's been a long time. Malcolm Butler's last season was COVID. It was either COVID or 2021. I just remember that rookie Justin Jefferson took him for a ride in week 3 of the COVID season. I want to say that might have been the last season that Malcolm Butler played for the Titans. But again, it's been quite some time. Alteron Werner in 2013. Robert with the pull. Alteron Werner in 2013 is the last Pro Bowl corner the Titans have had. That's pretty surprising to me because, Adoree I don't think was ever Pro Bowl caliber, but he wasn't a bad player. Logan Ryan and Malcolm Butler were objectively good during their time here. They were a good secondary. Maybe they play for the Titans, so people stopped paying attention to them. But Alteron Werner in 2013 is over 10 years ago. That's insane. So it's not a bad submission by Jay, but you have had good players at that position. I've just named a few of them, even if you have gone through some tough stretches, as All teams do. But I see a couple of people submitting the one position that at least, again, by percentage. Now, you can say it's not the most important position, and that's fine. There are other premium positions on the roster or on any NFL roster beyond the one that I'm getting ready to mention. But when you talk about the sheer amount of players that this football team has churned through at that specific position, it is going to, I think, shock you when you learn that linebacker has been off-ball linebacker, and I saw some of you submit that in the comment section. Off-ball linebacker has been their most difficult position to get right since they fired John Robinson. So, like I said, Brinker and Borgonzi, their whole thing has been a disciplined approach. I don't know that Azeez Al-Shaair signing a couple years ago was a lack of discipline. I thought he was a fine player, and I thought he acquitted himself fairly well for the money, even if he was somebody who I, frankly, didn't want to be here. He always wanted to be in Houston. He took a one-year deal here, and then he ultimately ended up going on to land with the Texans on a much more lucrative deal. But Nick Suss of the Tennessean, like I mentioned, he went through and found out just by sheer numbers how many different players has this team churned since November of 22, which is when they fired John Robinson. And the number will astound you. 38 transactions at off-ball linebacker. Some that worked, some that went through, I guess, some that were past transactions, some were simply attempted transactions that didn't pan out. And you'll understand what I mean when I read you this list here in just a second. But 38 individual transactions with 26 individual players at that position since November 22. So you've had 26 different guys, including the guys that you've added to the roster this year and the guys that you drafted last year, 26 different players in less than 3 years, and they still can't get the off-ball linebacker spot right. Now, like I said, it's not the most important position on the field. You could probably name, I would argue 5 positions that are more valuable or there's a higher premium placed on than off-ball linebacker. Quarterback is, I don't think they've struggled as badly as you guys feel like they've struggled at quarterback. Mariota was fine for a time. Tannehill was more than fine for a time. He's the statistically most accomplished quarterback in the Titans era in 28 years of Titans football. You did find that guy in the last, 5 years. Beyond that, obviously, it's been a bit shaky. Levis didn't pan out by any stretch of the imagination, and the Tannehill magic faded when you basically let the roster fall to shit around him. But when you talk about the kind of players or how difficult it has been to fix one area and how many just different things, different resources they've thrown at the position, there's not a position that's been churned more than the off-ball linebacker spot. Now, one of the players that they brought in to fix this thing is Cody Barton. And I think you guys have probably seen snippets, if not this full conversation, at some point in time in the last couple of weeks. But Barton is one of the guys that I sat down with during the Titans offseason program. And I thought it was interesting to talk to him about being in the room with so many young guys and what he is able to bring to the table at 28 years old and 6 years into the league. I guess this would be his 7th, but just 6 years in a room that, I think the second most experienced guy, and I went and looked this up just by starts and years at this point in time, the second most experienced guy in the Titans off-ball linebacker room is a guy named Amari Burney, who's a 2023 6th-round pick by the Raiders. He has 24 career appearances. He has 1 start. Barton, by a mile, is the most experienced player at the position. The rest are, Cedric Gray and James Williams. Anthony Orji, the former Vanderbilt linebacker that had a couple of good games with the Saints, but still was a 2023 UDFA. They have been looking all over to find players at this position. I'm going to read you that list of names, but first let's hear from Cody Barton. Hanging out here with Cody Barton. We just wrapped up, what is it, day 4 of OTAs for you guys?
Day 4, yep.
Day 4. All right, you got a lot of third down work in particular. How'd you feel like it went for the defense?
Felt good. There's always some things to clean up. Little mistakes here and there. I had a mistake towards the end. Just, in third down with different pressures, different front looks and stuff like that. There's a lot to it, but, today overall went great. Guys are flying around competing. The first 4 days have been great. Guys are really competitive, high energy, and just – it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. How'd the quarterbacks handle all the different looks you guys were throwing at them?
They did good.
They might put some guys in a blender every once in a while now.
for how much stuff we had in today, there was a few times where, it got them,
Yeah.
which first day, it's going to happen. But, overall, it's been a battle back and forth. We've been coming up with blitzes. They've been shutting it down. We're trying different stuff. We'll get them on one thing. You know what I mean? It's just the back and forth. It's been fun.
Yeah, no, it's been fun for us to, we've only been able to see you guys for a couple of days out here when it's open, but it's been enjoyable to watch the back and forth, and it doesn't, you try not to assign too much to one practice or any one thing, but I know it's about, just watching what you can after a day of work and going back there and correcting the mistakes, and you're old hat at this point, but you got a lot of new dudes running around out here on defense. How's the dynamic with you as somebody who's new to the building, but also understanding there's a ton of new dudes to this building as well?
Yeah, I mean, the dynamic's been good overall. The guys who are already here, very accepting of the new guys. They got a good locker room here, good culture, good camaraderie amongst the guys. And then for us new guys, we've just fallen right in and just, it's been clicking pretty quick with the guys. At this point, it's only been 4 practices, but it feels like we've been here a lot longer than that. You know what I mean? Like the way we're all communicating, playing together, and we got a long way to go, just like everyone else. But the way things have gone so far has been it's been great.
You're muted.
Thank you. I mentioned that was Cody Barton, who is a player that you signed this offseason, coming off a career year in Denver, 3 years, $21 million, cost effective. That is somebody that I think that kind of fits the mold. Borgonzi talked at his introductory press conference about the kind of free agent players that they're looking at, and he cited some players in Kansas City. He mentioned Anthony Fasano, who obviously Titans fans are familiar with. He mentioned Mike DeVito, who is a defensive lineman, number 70, if I remember correctly, Mike DeVito, who was just a stopgap kind of guy, but had some really, really nice, long, serviceable years for Kansas City in an ancillary role. I think of Sebastian Joseph Day as another one of these guys who, I know they re-signed him. That was a Rand Carthon signing initially, but he kind of fits that mold. Just got solid players at a couple of different positions that can give you a wealth of experience, who may not be the most talented or the most physically impressive athletes, but they're good enough to hold down spots so that you can concentrate your focus on bigger problem areas. I think that when you talk about the Josh Sabata says red flash for the save. It's been a long time since we've called Robert the red flash, but I'm 100% in favor of bringing that back at some point. It is, but I think Barton's emblematic of that kind of, stopgap veteran, even though it's a 3-year deal. It's not quite a stopgap, but it's just somebody to hold it down while you figure all the other issues that you got out. These are the 26 players, 38 transactions, 26 different players that the Titans have tried to use to address the free agent linebacker problem. Jack Gibbons, Zach Cunningham, Andre Smith, Luke Gifford, Azeez Al-Sher, Ben Neiman, Otis Reese, Chance Campbell, Otis Reese again, Joe Jones, Jack Campbell again, Joe Jones again, Otis Reese again, JoJo Doman twice, Garrett Wallow, Doman again, Tate Crowder, Kenneth Murray, Jack Gibbons again, Cedric Gray, James Williams, Michael Jones, Ernest Jones, Gifford 3 more times, Jerome Baker, Curtis Bolton, Raekwon McMillan, David Long, if he'd passed a physical, McMillan again, Cody Barton, Curtis Jacobs, David Benda, Amari Burney, and Anthony Orgy. That's an insane amount of roster churn at any position. And I think if I'd have asked you guys, cold on the street or something like that, what position group of the Titans ran through the most players at just trying to figure out a solution, I don't know how many of you would have said linebacker. I think you guys know that linebacker is a problem for you or has been a problem for you, but I don't think you knew to quite that extent. Certainly I didn't, so it's good research by Suss there. And you can read the full article at Tennessean.com. So all the different things that the Titans have tried to figure out, that is one of the bigger issues. Now, I think Barton is going to be a part of the solution. James Williams got a lot of run during the offseason program. I don't know if it's his job to lose. I do take them at their word when they talk about the competition being pretty wide the hell open, but it would be ideal for them if James Williams turned into something, because he's obviously a big physical athlete that if they can get to be more refined, more skilled with his tools, that would be a nice running mate for Cody Barton, who, is a good player, an above-average player, certainly coming off a career year in Denver, where I thought he played really high-level football and a really good defense. Now he's coming to a worse defense, and he's not going to have, the pass rush unit in front of him. He's not going to have the defensive line quite to keep him clean from those offensive linemen getting up to the second level and covering him up. He's going to have some greater degree of difficulties here, but that's what the money's for, and he's expected to help this Titans defense transition into a better spot. So we will continue to take a look at the Titans roster, obviously, in the next couple of weeks. We've got 5 more weeks until they come back. In fact, we're less than a month away from report date. July the 22nd is when the Titans will report back for training camp. So we are less than 5 weeks away from that at this point in time. We will welcome in Robert with In Case You Missed It. We will ask you guys the question on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Well, actually, I don't think I have to ask you a question. I think I just have to bring Robert in here after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by True Math Fitness in the Gulch. TrueMathFitness.com. Your first workout is free. As a Middle Tennessee resident, no workout ever recycled or repeated. True Math Fitness is there to help you accomplish your fitness goals on your unique individual fitness journey. True Math Fitness for more details. All right, Robert, what you got?
Damn, it looks dark in here tonight. Sun be setting in here. Also, it's hot as hell in my upstairs. I know how you feel now. I remember once making fun of you for having 2 AC units for your upstairs and downstairs. I think my upstairs unit is on the fritz because downstairs it is a cool 70 degrees, and up here it is a brisk 83.
Oh,
If you see that fan? You see that fan up there working?
Are you sitting naked in that chair at 83 degrees? That's disgusting.
Well, it's got fabric. It's not like leather. I'm not.
Ooh, that means you're just soaking into that chair right now.
I mean, I got like a pet thing to get it off.
What, to pry your ass off that chair?
Yeah, the same thing they use to detail cars. Hell, you ain't never sat in your car naked. Your little ass juice ain't never sucked into your Two Rivers Ford.
You think
fancy
that I've
vehicle?
sat naked in my car in the heat? Why
No,
would I
ain't that
ever
cool.
do that?
They ain't no reason for you to have a naked ass on your seat. You're right. You ain't cool enough to be pulling into the back of the Lowe's. Be like, skirt, girl, hold on now. Listen, okay, that might be the stupidest shit you heard all week.
I was about to say, please, I'm even not that we have to get into risque topics, but the idea it's been a while since anybody's tried to do the deed in the car. All right, but car shower, at least you can make it work. The car is just untenable at certain points. The car is a giant literal pain in the ass.
More for me. More for me.
What do you have?
Stupidest shit I've seen all week, and I can honestly nominate this. I kind of like this because there was a lot of stupid shit this week with Anthony Richardson's rap video where he put out a snippet, and the snippet he put out was the dumbest part of the entire conversation.
Could not have been worse.
Coach Schnall getting thrown out of the College World Series. I thought that was stupid as hell. That was soft. But Emmanuel Acho, and no, this is what I think the stupidest shit is when everybody instantly, as soon as you have any kind of topic in the summer where people are like, oh, must be the summer, they don't have shit to talk about. Bleep you. I can talk about whatever the hell I want to, and we're going to make it work. And yeah. I hate when people use it as an excuse like, well, there's nothing to talk about. You can make shit entertaining. You can make a half-decent conversation out of something.
We did it for 3 hours today. We didn't have shit to talk about. We were great.
Emmanuel Acho, I understand that it's this summer, but you don't have to be this stupid.
How many chips did you win? And how many teams did you have to play for to do it? That is your legacy.
That is the greatest, nerdiest take that you have ever had.
I have a very simple
Shut
legacy
up,
formula.
Dad.
It's very simple. I was not great at math. You don't have to be for it. It's simple. Championships divided by teams you played for is how great your legacy. The higher the number on the far right column, the greater your legacy is. As you can see, Kobe Bryant, 5 chips, 1 team. Tim Duncan, 5 chips, 1 team. Steph Curry, 4 chips, 1 team. LeBron James, 4 chips, 3 teams. Obviously, notably left off there is Michael Jordan, but y'all get it. Y'all can do the math. The number of championships you win by the teams you play play for, to me, is your legacy. Dirk Nowitzki, 1 championship, 1 team, but now KD, 2 championships, but he's been on 5 teams at this junction in time. Your legacy is dependent upon how many championships you win and how many teams that you have to play for to do it. The more you travel, the more you water down your legacy. Just because the current culture suggests that players move around ain't mean that's what it's supposed to be, because Jokic ain't moving around. Giannis ain't moving around. Steph ain't moving around. And outside of a forgettable year, not by Shai's own mention, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander ain't moving around. Now to Shady's point, and Shady made a beautiful one. How can you fault KD for going to go get something, a championship? I'm not faulting him for going to go get it. I'm faulting him because he can't bring it to him. That's why he's going to go get it. You're only going to go get it because it won't come to you. Shai brought a championship to him. Giannis brought a championship to him. Jokic brought a championship to him. But because KD can't bring a championship to him, that's why he got to go get it. He got to go get it in Brooklyn, try to go get it in Phoenix. Now he's going to go get it in Houston. But if you could bring it to, if you could bring it to you, you wouldn't have to go get it. So I'm faulting KD, and I'm simply suggesting, not even faulting him, I'm suggesting his legacy is watered down. How many chips did you win? And how many teams did you have to play for to do it? That is your legacy.
That is the greatest, nerdiest take that you have ever had.
That is the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Shut up.
Who's that other guy?
I was going to ask you, where the hell did this seventh heaven father come from on this show of Shady McCoy, Emmanuel Acho? Like, he is not speaking facts.
They found the most unjoy Taylor-like human being they could find to put on that show.
Do not put an attractive woman next to him. Don't put anybody hot next to him. He'll have to bring her back and put some joy in her life. Like, he's not speaking facts, though. Because if you do this, okay, Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq won 4 championships. He played for 6 teams. Does that lower his legacy at all of being one of the best big men to ever play in the NBA? No. This is stupid. And also, Giannis didn't have to go anywhere to do it. Jokic didn't have to go anywhere to do it. Do you know why these players aren't leaving? And why KD did have to leave? If you stay with the team that drafts you, you are offered a larger contract. You are no other teams are able to match this homegrown contract. So all of those players stayed. It's not diminishing what they did either, but KD was in with the Thunder.
That's the whole Luka thing. That's like, if that's Luka, it's holding it against Luka if Luka ever goes on to win a theoretical championship here, because Dallas was trying to get out of paying him the Supermax, shipped him off, and that's Luka's fault. If he ends up winning a championship, you're going to hold that against him? Of course not. That's ridiculous.
And anytime you are broadly looking at someone's resume, you are exiting Nuance County. Population you, bro. Like, okay, he tried to get it with the Nets. Hell, he would have been in the finals if his freaking toe wouldn't have been on the line and the refs wouldn't have looked at it in the finals against the Bucks. Like, what are you talking about? He would have won another championship with the Warriors if he wouldn't have gotten hurt trying to come back. Like, you just saying broadly, oh, his legacy sucks because he played for... Okay, by your stupid-ass math equation, then Michael Jordan's legacy is cut in half because he was not able to bring DC a championship. This is the stupid, most asinine... Players going somewhere does not mean they are lesser. In my opinion, KD is a top 10 player all time.
Oh, I would argue top 5 all time.
I just didn't want the old heads to come for me. But, like, if you're playing 5-on-5 prime and you're picking people for blacktop, KD not being on your team is egregious. He's a weapon. And he's still a weapon. After
37 years old, he is still one of the most unguardable things in sports.
Right. Like, what was the stat? Like, he hasn't averaged under 25 points since his rookie year. Like, and for Emmanuel to get up there and be like, it lowers your legacy. Dude, you have 33 tackles. You have 30. Everyone else on that panel, even Seventh Heaven Father, he probably won an Emmy for that.
He probably has as many tackles as Emmanuel Acho does.
Like, Shady is one of the best running backs of all time. Who the hell are you to question someone's legacy?
I think that I really enjoyed what he was doing when he was at ESPN and what his pivot was, where, he's clearly intelligent, right? That was not the most intelligent thing that he said in front of a microphone, but he's smart enough to know how to get aggregated, right? Like, he knows the notes that he's playing. But what he has become since then. What was it initially in COVID? The uncomfortable conversations with a black man that he was doing, that he gained traction for, that he, was going to do important and thought-provoking things with, and now he's doing dumb shit like math equations to determine championship veracity. It's just a different version of in my personal record book, which is sports talk, which is the dumbest shit out there. It is completely and totally nonsensical, and it is represented best by Emmanuel Acho, who may be able to deliver it well, because his delivery is still good. Even if what he's saying is dumb and useless, his delivery is still good. So it makes you think, oh, this guy must know what he's talking about, unless you're actually paying attention to what he's saying, which is bullshit.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Tony Parker, his legacy is just totally in shambles because he played for a team in Paris before he got to the Spurs. He played for the Hornets, so Tony Parker, probably one of the best.
Hornets.
Shut up, dude. If you are so freaking smart, then come up with some smart shit to say. I don't know. That's me. It really pissed me off today. Maybe I was having a bad day, but it just got me. Well, how scary would it be?
You barely worked today. What were you having a bad day for?
Not going to get into it. But how scary would it be if somebody just came in? What would y'all do? What would y'all do if somebody?
That's what I'd do. I would completely ignore it like it never happened, and I would keep moving on with my day. That's exactly what I would do. Plausible deniability, baby. I didn't see shit. That's going to do it for us tonight. We appreciate you hanging out. Radio show is going to be fun tomorrow. Come hang out with Robert and Lucas and me from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone. Maybe he'll survive the dark, sweaty, disgusting, hot dungeon that is his 83-degree office that just has to smell like ass sweat at this point in time. Maybe he won't, because that's the one reason I know you're safe in that room, because I'm sure that room smells terrible. That room cannot possibly smell good right now. Anybody who would try to sneak in and attack you would immediately run away. That candle's doing a lot of heavy lifting, bud. That candle's probably bacon grease.
That was the first funny thing you said.
Get off my screen. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Zone. Have a great rest of your night. Which defensive player stands to benefit most from the coaching change? Poipol Neupel